Welcome to What's Up with Bowling Green Winlectric. We're your go-to podcast for lighting tips, interior design insights, and expert advice on all things home, electrical, and design. Join us as we chat with local guests, electricians, and designers as we dive into the world of DIY tips, building ideas, and indoor-outdoor home solutions to help you create the perfect ambiance indoors and out.
Hey, what's up with Winlectric fans? We got an exciting episode today because we are actually joined by the one and only Henry Royse, Glasgow Mayor.
Thank you for inviting me to be on here today for sure, because I think this is a neat idea.
Oh, appreciate that, Mr. Royse. If you don't mind, first off, to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, maybe some of the work you've done in the past, and also what made you want to become a mayor.
Well, Sean, I graduated from Glasgow High School in 1975. It was the most wonderful education you could ever have wanted. Made lifelong friends. Got to see the high school excel in athletics, in academics, and it was a wonderful place to call home. As I went to Western and graduated, and I got in my career of broadcasting, I saw how much a well-done radio station can make a difference in a community, and how important that it is that the radio station becomes a part of the community. And that's what I really like about what's happening right here in this studio where we're sitting. There's a whole lot of community involvement, a whole lot of plugging in. The community needs that. You know, we don't need jukeboxes anymore. We need people that will do programs like what you're doing to get people familiar with the community.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I appreciate you talking so kindly about what we're doing here. Not sure it's necessarily warranted. We'll see, but appreciate that. So what made you initially wanted to get into politics and run for mayor?
Well, the thing is, like I told you, I grew up here, and it had provided me with a wonderful place to get an education. It provided me with a wonderful place to build my career, and it also provided me with a way to raise my children in a quality education. I was at the point I needed to give back. I needed to pay it forward, and I was making some observations that not everything that was going on in this community was leading up to positivity. You know, when my parents were raising their kids, my brothers, they were involved in raising money to build a high school, those kind of things. They had a lot of love for this community. But as time progressed, we kind of got out of that, but we were going to be in need for things like that. So I felt like if I could get in the chair and just lead people to move forward, then maybe I can give back, because I owed it because of what it had provided me.
Wow, I feel like sometimes, and it'd be nice if I was completely wrong on this, but I feel like sometimes people get into politics for almost like reasons for themselves. Sure. So it's so awesome to know that we have people in leadership roles here that are doing it for what you would call, quote, the right reason. So appreciate that's the reason you're doing that.
Thank you.
So one of the reasons the main reason I think, we wanted to have you on to talk about today is the growth of Glasgow.
Yes.
A little bit about what that might entail. One of the things that people see pop up on social media is ribbon cuttings at these places. That's the nice little bow on the top, but obviously that's the culmination of a long time and effort put in, people such as yourself, to get those companies to come here. Can you tell us a little bit about what goes into that? Because I'm sure, especially for me, I'm really ignorant of that. I don't know what all it takes to get companies to come.
Let me back up a second. Let's talk about the ribbon cuttings. Most of the ribbon cuttings come through Barron Inc., which is partially the Chamber of Commerce and, of course, the Economic Development. Now, what I'm so tickled is that Barron Inc. has driven home the importance of welcoming new businesses, and our attendance at ribbon cuttings has become astronomical. People want to be involved in the latest, the newest thing that's coming along, and they'll make time to be there, and it's amazing how many people come to that. But with that being said, with respect to the ribbon cuttings, let's talk about a business coming to Glasgow. Let's talk about downtown Glasgow. It's a beautiful view from up here on the 4th floor of this building. You can look at the Glasgow Square, and you can look at a lot of things, but what you see, what people sometimes don't see, is that it takes the effort of the merchants willing to put some investment into their place they're going to call their business. People have spent money redoing the front of their buildings. They have spent money rearranging. You know, we've got the Airbnbs over here that the Wagner family did.
Simple Life Properties.
They took it from, they said, you know, we're not going to halfway do this, and they did it right. You know, they now have bought, I guess it's okay to say this, they bought that building over there. It used to be the Standard Farm Store at the corner of West Main Street and North Liberty Street. So that's a, you know, look at some of the other things, and they're doing it to invest in the community. They're not trying to, win the trophy for downtown beautification, because they don't halfway do anything. I'm so excited about that, and there are many other businesses here to do that. So I would say, first and foremost, people who come downtown and buy a business or start a business in Glasgow are certainly people who understand the way to make it work, is to come in here with the right attitude and put some time and effort and money into it, because the community will respond.
Yes, sir.
Look at the Hive. Look at the Creamery.
Yes.
Look at all these other places.
Chiefs Comics over there. I see people in there all the time.
Oh, listen, and that's a bunch of neat people there for sure. So what we have is we've got a place where people like to come. I remember not too many years ago coming downtown on a Saturday morning. Glasgow, maybe 2 or 3 cars in a parking space. Come down this Saturday. There's nowhere to park, and that's not a bad thing.
No, it's an amazing.
It's a good thing, because people are coming here. Some people like to come and have a cup of coffee or have breakfast down at George J's, or they just want to come to some of the other retail outlets. There is no way to fake that. There's got to be a reason for people to come. There's got to be people who want to start Saturday morning off by going down to Off the Square.
Yes.
And that only happens by the people who put the money, the time, and the effort and the investment into that.
Wow. Yeah, and that's a good point. Is, I was asking from almost like a planning and zoning type standpoint, where you're saying that won't matter if there's not someone willing to invest in their company in the area.
Well, I mean, you're exactly right, but of course you got to have it from within. Yes, you have to go to planning and zoning, but you're not looking for. You just have to make sure that what you do is zoned for what you're planning on doing it. If it's bed and breakfast, or if it's retail, or if it's restaurant, there are planning and zoning rules that has to go by. And we have a wonderful joint city-county planning and zoning commission.
Yes.
Kevin Myatt, and also Tom Kendall, and of course Jim Griffin, who is our local building inspector.
Yes.
They are people who are pulling for this community to grow, and they're not difficult to deal with whatsoever. So that's where you got to make sure you follow those rules.
Sure.
At the same time, City of Glasgow, you have to have a business license, and we have right at the back on the first floor of City Hall, we have the business license division, where Nick Hurt and Debbie Bowe, you come in there, you want to start a business, they'll help you figure out how to get the license. If it is something that you want to try to get a license to, say, serve alcohol, it all has to come through Nick. It's all very, there's things that you have to do.
Sure.
But I want to say it this way, those departments are not to be inhibitive. We're not trying to stop you from doing this. We just want to make sure you follow the rules when you go, because like I said, you got to want to do it.
Yep.
And that's the biggest challenge.
Well, and sometimes people do need the help with that, like you mentioned, so it's good that those people are willing to help.
Some people don't know. There's no real good, I haven't seen a good primer where I'm going to log in here and see exactly how to do all this.
Yeah.
It's better if you let Nick tell you, or Debbie tell you, or Jim Griffin tell you.
Because that's what they live every day.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they don't, I want to say this, I'm proud of this, they are not bending the rules for anybody. Well, nobody's going to get preferential treatment. nobody's going to, in other words, slip by with something. Everybody's got to comply with the same rules.
Yes.
And that is really the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's. I know I've worked with several customers in projects around the square itself and in Glasgow in general, and yeah, some of those people, like you mentioned, the example, Simple Life Properties, they had to follow the same rules. Doesn't matter if they've built 4 or 5 things here and rehab this; they still got to follow the same rules. So
yeah, and the thing is, you attract good people. Beth and Mike Wagner are not going to halfway do anything.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of people you want building your downtown, and it's the same way with all of the other. And I don't want to leave anybody out, because every single stop around the square is somebody that's doing something right, trying to get things going in a positive direction, and we're in a good spot. I don't know who to give that credit to, but we're in a good spot. Everybody's on the same team. We have the same goal line that we're driving toward.
Well, I would say, my opinion, you take it for what it's worth, probably not much, but my opinion is, I would say a lot of that praise would go to you and your staff in general, and because I know that some of the I will say more corporate companies coming to Glasgow, we've seen a number of big companies that are now coming to Glasgow. Now, how does that happen? Because that's not like just somebody, your neighbor next door, that wants to start a small business.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of conversation, I'm sure, that happens, behind the scenes, that have to happen and then go through a bunch of different stages in the government. So could you tell us a little bit about what you and your staff do to try to attract said customers? Well,
there's several different ways that happens. One of the ones that I like to think about is the traffic count. We have, if you think about Glasgow, you think about the outer loop, and you think about people coming from Metcalfe County on their way to WKU Glasgow,
sure,
and then soon it'll be to SKYCTC. That roadway out there, the traffic count is huge. So corporate customers looking for traffic counts and things of that nature, they see those things. And we're starting to see more and more development out there where a lot of this traffic count is. There's been, even where the cinema is, there hasn't been a lot developed on past the cinema, but the traffic count is huge there. There's a lot of people interested in that. Come on over toward where that they are, like where Right Implement is, and then, of course, right through that intersection is where SKYCTC is going to be. And, of course, we have the wonderful Tate folks right over there. Some big growth in Tate.
Right.
That area is starting to take off. I want us to be sure that we pace ourselves so that we don't build a difficult place to get through, but everybody that's doing that is putting the money into developing the growth plans, and of course we really are looking forward to that. Over on 1297, a more residential area, we have, of course, our Johnson farm that we are looking for developers who want to have developments of really nice homes and nice neighborhoods and nice places to live within a slingshot of Red Cross Elementary,
sure,
within a slingshot of the soccer complex, right out back of Tate, right out back of SKYCTC. We see a lot of potential there. We're not in a hurry. We're not rushing. We want it to go, correctly. And sometimes that's why we have planning and zoning commissions and things like that, because some people get in too big of a hurry, and we need to make sure that we don't have to take anything back once we get going.
Yeah, I can't imagine how hard that would be to try to decide, is something growing too fast or growing beyond our current means. So I know that's got to be a challenge in of itself. What would you say right now that in your mind would be the number one biggest opportunity for growth in Glasgow?
The biggest opportunity for growth? Well, I am really excited to see how SKYCTC takes off, because they're a wonderful organization, and of course they are really going to increase the number of nurses, and we badly need the nurses. I know from my involvement with the hospital, good nurses are valuable citizens, and SKYCTC is going to meet that need. They're also going to do a lot of other things, helping people plan for specific businesses, ventures. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, trades. That's right. That's a good word, trades. Because when I was in high school, we had trade school.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what it is, where we can help people specifically plan for some of those things. I know Barron County has the ATC, that they do a good job with that too. We have a lot. You know, it's not a one entity adventure here. There's a lot of people contributing toward, like I say, the same goal line, and I really think that's not something that we've. I know that we have been through times in the past where nothing was going all that good. You know, and there's no way to necessarily turn it around instantaneously, but you just got to keep plugging away. It's not going to happen overnight. Well,
and I think, you know, my opinion on the trade thing is, you know, it's one thing, trade school and high school, kids don't know what they want to do.
That's right.
See, SKYCTC, now that's when you're in adulthood and you know, you're starting to know what you want to do, and they're going to be there. I mean, and we're at a massive shortage from the industry that I'm in. I'm a little bit more aware maybe than somebody else, but we're a massive shortage for trades in our area.
Yes, and I've really been impressed with the upper level folks at SKYCTC. They want to know. They're not wanting to just run a school that doesn't help anybody become better employed. They want to know what they can do, and I find that to be very encouraging.
Yeah, and they'll adjust. I know from the Bowling Green campus, they'll adjust their classes based on, you know, what's out there, and they'll try to, you know, help people understand maybe the best direction to go. If you're thinking, well, I want to be I don't know if I want to be a plumber, an electrician, or an HVAC tech. You know, they'll help them based on what they know the need is out there. So
that's a really valuable thing. I'm so glad this worked out where they could build this new campus and give people more and more opportunities. You know, sometimes you can't, if it's not available, you can't really even consider it.
Right.
And this opens up a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Royse, I think this is kind of a little bit of a good stopping point for us right now. You were so nice to come on with us today. We really appreciate that. And more importantly, nice enough to have a second episode with us, because I've still got things I want to ask.
I'm really enjoying it, so keep going.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Up with Winlectric. Hope you learned a little bit about Mr. Royse here, and because the choice is Royse, and also, you know, just knowing what's happening in the community and Glasgow growing and what it takes to make that happen. So join us next time for episode 2 with Mr. Henry Royse, Glasgow Mayor.